Hello.
Hi. Sorry guys, it's a bit of a late start.
Panics me every time.
Yeah. I've always got the excuse that there is no time. So I can just say when time, there's no such thing as time, so of course I can be late. I met a friend for, I met a friend for coffee once years ago, and we had a discussion, well, kind of about this really in a way. I was suggesting this, but he was arguing that there was time was absolutely real, and I was saying it was real and unreal. There's no such thing as time. I was on time and he was 20 minutes late. So anyway. So So this is it. What appears to be happening is what is always sought, always looked for. All the time there's a sense of being a me, an individual, a contracted sense of being a person with a world outside of them. There's a yearning for something. There's a question. And that's what's going to be suggested this evening, is that what's yearned for is always and has never been anything other than what appears to be happening. This is it. Whatever appears to be happening is already it. Sounds, sensations, thought arises. It doesn't matter what it is. For the person, it absolutely matters what it is, because they feel like a real person in the world and they're trying to make their life work. So it absolutely matters what's happening to the person. And they're constantly trying to make their life better and trying to get somewhere with it. And then there's a sensation in that. There's a sense in that whatever is sought is temporal and doesn't last. And what is yearned for always seems to be around the next corner. It's always the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And this sense of trying to fill this void, if you want to call it, if there's a sensitivity to that, there can be a sensitivity to that. And then when there is a sensitivity to that, it's seen that maybe the job isn't going to cut it, the promotion's not going to cut it, that it's not in some kind of material gain, it's not in some object, it's not in getting something. So the natural inclination is to kind of go inward and maybe think that it's maybe some sort of a state or some sort of a spiritual experience, or some of the many things that spirituality suggests to us, that it may be enlightenment. What's being suggested here is that it is not any state, it is not any thing, it is not any way of being. What in fact is looked for is simply already all that is already just simple aliveness. That's all. But you can't have it. you can't have what you're yearning for, because what's yearned for is this, and this has no room for me, only in the story. So that really felt feeling of being an individual can start to fall away, or can totally collapse. And when it does, or appears to, it's seen that it was never real in the beginning. It was never real to begin with, that it was a story, it was a dream, whatever you want to call it. And this has always been it. So that's what's being shared. It's shared in open friendship. There's no agenda, there's no goal. So if someone wants to share something or wants to ask a question, probably the best thing is to put your hand up, and that way we can get a bit of order on this chaos. Or just unmute yourself too, I suppose that kind of works.
Hi, Kenneth.
Hey, how you
Can you
doing?
hear
Hi,
me?
Anne. Hi, Anne. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Great.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, a couple of months ago or so, kind of everything fell apart, and I don't really know how to describe it, to be honest, so probably be quite clumsy with my words, but everything was just seen through and clear, and seeking stopped, and I really don't know how to describe it, but
well, it's not describable. I can't describe it.
yeah,
You can't describe it.
yeah,
Yet it's
but
very ordinary. It's very simple and ordinary, and
yeah, very simple and ordinary, and
Mm.
what seemed in a way quite complicated just seemed so obvious, and like, why have I been listening to this message for 4 years when it's so obvious?
yeah.
How come I didn't just see it?
Well, you weren't listening to the message for 4 years. You see,
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. You have never done anything, and nothing can be any different than it is. So there appeared to be 4 years in which Anne was listening to the message. The other thing about that is the person that has no interest in this and does not want this and is not being spoken to actually here at all. So it's not the person that hears it. The person can do nothing but reject it, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of understand all that, all
Mm.
the standard answers and why, and that it wasn't the person listening, and everything that's always said about it. But it's like I'm not complaining. It's
No,
like,
it's just yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it said.
there's always a total background of peace to it, even when bad things, so-called bad things, although there's no bad and good and all that. But
Yeah.
even when something that's labelled unpleasant or something like that, there's a kind of a so what to it. There's a kind of like, I don't know, there's just ease and effort and no effort, and all the things that are talked about in it's the things that I longed for, that I was seeking for. That is how it is. Every way it's described, that is how it is. But
there's a but. There's a but, Anne.
Yeah, there's a but.
I thought you were working up to a but there.
Yeah, did you? Did you feel a book
I
coming
felt a
on? Yeah.
book coming.
I've got a book tonight. Yeah, I'm trying to be totally honest about this and get away from all the jargon and all the phrases that you hear again and again from the beloved Tony and Jim and, you know, those speakers, and just kind of be as honest as I can about it. And, you know, it's like, what should I say? It's, yeah, I kind of miss the seeking.
Mm.
And like, listening to this was my life, you know. It was like 24/7. That was my sort of purpose, my quest, my, you know, and I enjoyed that, you know. I enjoyed getting up in the morning, and all the time that I could, I'd listen to it and waiting to get it and longing and almost feeling like nearly there, you know. And now that's totally gone. And I don't even have to listen to the message anymore. And I sometimes find it quite boring, because
It is quite boring, actually.
yeah, because it's like, but I can't believe I've heard it a million times, and I don't know, it's just weird. It's just, and you know, I liked the community of it and still do, but I don't know, but I also find it a bit boring. And
yeah, what I was, when I say boring, I mean what's pointed to isn't boring, but I mean all the
no,
dual isms and the non-dual language. I found that boring for years, and all those words still come out here as well. But that's okay. It just is what it is. There's no, but all the jargon and all that. Yeah. But what I would say is that there can often be a huge sadness, kind of around the point of when there's apparently someone fallen away, and a sense of loss for that, all of those endeavors you described, and all of that kind of in integral aspects of being a person. There can be an enormous sadness, actually. I'm not sure that there's sadness there, but there can be a sense of huge loss, that this story of the person is seen to be completely artificial. So
yeah,
so that what I would say is that there can be still there can be still a sense of somebody, even if it's a tiny sense of somebody, and then it's that sense, it's that energetic sense of someone that that feels a loss, or that feels a what was described there.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, you
Our
still
loss for this, our loss for the seeking. Sorry, yeah, our loss for all the seeking gone and all of that.
You still have the memories, don't you? You still have the memories of what it was like, and the excitement that you were going to get something amazing, and the excitement that you were going to sort of,
What I would say here, though, is that when this is seen, it's infinitely more amazing than the mind's idea of it was, or any seeking was, any idea of what was looked for.
Yeah,
so
I agree,
I can't say that I can't say there would be a yearning for. Yeah, obviously, like, you can only ever talk from what's apparently going on there. I mean, anything else would be absolutely ridiculous. Like,
well, the reason I'm talking like this is I'm taking a bit of a risk, really, because it would be very easy to come on here and say about how amazing it is,
yeah,
because it is, and how extraordinary it is, because it is. But there is that other side to it that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, the other side of the disappointment, the other side, that the ordinariness of it, you know, and the I don't know. I mean, maybe it's what you're saying, that loss. It does feel like a loss. Yeah, you're right.
That's for me. For me, it could be it's quite common for there to be. It feels like a total loss of this sense of being a separate self, and they can't find yourself anymore. And it's kind of what's pointed towards seems to be seen, but then there's just that, if there's even a residue of me, then
Mm.
you're either kind of apparently there or not there, and all that can kind of play out then. But it would be, that would also be it, obviously, too. You know, because
Yeah,
like
maybe
speaking about it, like in a sense of that people talk about it as if, you know, there's no there for people to be, like there's no there's nothing even to agree on, you know.
say that again. Sorry, I missed
There's
that
nothing
bit.
even to agree on, you know. People, it's like as if, you know, it can be perceived that people are talking about something. It's not something, it's not something, it's not a state. It sounds like a state that can be reached, you know what I mean? So when there's someone says
Mm.
then, it's seen now and it's kind of, it's brilliant, but it's also a bit disappointing. It's as if it's
Mm.
some sort of state then, and that's not it. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. No, it's
So
definitely
that's what's
there.
going on there. But I mean, if there was a yearning for being, for the seeking again, what I would say is that there's still a sense of being a person there, no matter how subtle that is. Then
Yeah.
and it's that sense of being a person. Obviously, there's no right or wrong with that, but because that's only what's playing out. But if there is, then
Yeah, I don't
that's
think
what
it,
that's emanating from, you know.
yeah, I don't think it's a yearning for the seeking,
Mm,
because that was probably quite painful in a
mm,
sense, the seeking. Obviously it's not very pleasant, and there's no seeking at all here.
mm.
It's just, yeah, it's just unexplainable what I'm trying to
Yeah,
explain.
and it doesn't matter. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I think it's. I agree with what you said. When what is the point of coming on and saying, "Oh, this is stunning," and from this perspective, when this was seen, and it's very. I hear that quite a lot. It's kind of a tempting narrative for the individual,
Mm,
and
mm,
it's like, who is it that sees that? Then that's
mm.
it's another kind of game that goes on, actually, really.
Yeah, and I think
And
there's a lot of,
it's of no significance here. It's as much significance here as to the one that says, you know, oh, I don't get this, or I'm confused, as it's as
mm,
significant as someone says, oh, this is totally clear and it's amazing. Well, that's what appears
mm.
to be happening then. It doesn't matter.
I mean, if I'd have spoken to any other time today,
Mm,
most of the times today, I'd have been saying not absolutely the opposite.
yeah.
You know, it's like the energy, and the life that was coming through sometimes is just overpowering, and it was today.
Mm,
It's like, yeah, it's just overpowering, and I spend a lot of time writing about non-duality, because when that energy comes through me, I just have to write it down, because it's just so amazing. You know, it's like it's got to have the outlet, it seems.
yeah, kind of a
um
creative kind of outlet can be
yeah,
quite common. Yeah, just kind of pours
yeah, to
out of
express
nothing,
it.
out of nothing. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, because it's not like, it's like almost insights coming through me, but they're not mine. It's like something's speaking through me and I'm writing it down.
Mm,
And but it's not me. It's, you know, I wouldn't be capable of that.
mm,
So it's quite exciting. It's quite exciting energy.
mm, mm.
And then suddenly it can change
Yeah.
and be quite boring energy. And it, I don't know, it's just so weird.
Mm,
I just find it very weird. You know, there's
mm,
nothing to, it's just so different and weird.
mm.
Keep using that word, don't know. I
Yeah.
don't think that what I'm saying is making any sense whatsoever. But
All right.
anyway, I've
Doesn't
said
matter.
it now.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to.
No, exactly.
Um, I'm going to comment on a Marie's comment here, Anne, if that's all right. She sent
Yeah,
a comment here to me. I don't need to see what is for what is to be what is, right? Um, so I'm just going to move on to that, Anne, all right? Thanks.
yeah. Sorry, I was going on a bit there,
You're
wasn't
all
I?
right. Doesn't matter.
Talking
Uh,
all night.
thanks, Anne.
Thank you.
Right. No, you don't see what is. I mean, what's being suggested here is that there is only unconditional love, there is only energy, there is only light, and in that appears to be this a contracted sense that I'm separate to it, and it's artificial. And actually, from that artificial perspective of being a separate me, there's only objects that are seen, because there's a sense of being a subject, and to that subject everything is an object. So it's a subject object reality, and in that reality, the person's reality, things aren't seen as they actually are. And it's impossible for it to be seen from that false center of me. It's not possible. So all the time there is that perception, there's a yearning to not be separate. And the big joke is you're not separate, because that sense of being separate is artificial. It's not actually real. So it's not you that sees it. It's not you that sees it. And also it's not you that's being spoken to here at all. There's no interest in you here. It's not entertained at all. And it's impossible for you to hear what's being said, because all the individual is interested in is just being an individual. It's just a closed loop. So incredibly, what's seen then is seen by nothing. It's seen by nothing. And life is, as it really is actually not seen by a me. It's just not seen by anything. It's just, and it's not a thing called life. It's not. It's just full on, immediate, boom. And anything can happen. Anything can happen, and it's free to be as it is, and it's always new. Everything is always new. And that's what's yearned for. And what's yearned for is always what appears to be. It's not anything else. But as a person, it feels as though what's happening is not quite it, and it must be something else. So there's a continuous rejection of what appears to be in favor of what might be. And that's the energy of being a person. Hence, as I said earlier, there's a continual kind of going around the next corner. It's around the next corner. It's what I'm looking for is around the next corner. So there's constant rejection of just simply just this. And the invitation is constant to see that this is it. Andy said, is that why the self seeks out romantic relationships? Because it temporarily can make you feel whole. Yeah, the self seeks lots of things that make it feel whole and complete very temporarily. Yeah. The relationships are, I mean, it's a drive, it's an innate drive, and it's a meeting of needs. I think it's the best way I would describe it. It's a meeting of needs. It's when that person feels that they are meeting someone who can complete me. Who can complete them and make them whole is the issue, I guess. I see that are also the sense that you are in a relationship with a separate person who you can know, and then that leads to all sorts of problems and dynamics. But I mean, it's just a play of life. It's just a meeting of needs. It's wonderful. There's no problem with it. But as from the perspective of being a person, you can't actually see another person ever. You don't see them as they actually are, because you again only see an object as a subject. You see an object. So what you think of, you know, if you feel you know somebody, you're not seeing them actually. Hi Jaharia, am I messing up your name? I am, I think.
It's okay. It's Jahida.
Jahara.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. I just was thinking that and so I still feel like a person, but when I hear what you're saying, I just think like, oh, then nothing's that fucking serious then. Like
No.
now it's just like, you know, I still feel like a person, but then when I feel stressed out about something, I'm like, oh, but that actually, it doesn't even matter.
No,
So
nothing
like
matters, no.
life just feels easier. Like the first lady that was just saying, like, there's just a feeling of like peace underneath it all. That's just like, oh, actually, I don't have to get that upset. I mean, I still like get upset, but then I notice, oh, I'm feeling upset, and actually that really doesn't matter. But at the same time, like, there's like, you know, the person, I just feel like I feel a little irresponsible sometimes, like, well, I should do something about it, or I should feel like I should, you know, figure it out, or like, you know, if I just let my husband talk to me like that, then, you know, what's going to happen? And like, I just feel like sometimes I'm like, oh, well, that I must be, I have to do something about it. I can't just say like, well, it doesn't matter to everything, you know? But I also like, when you say that, like, it's stunning, is it like stunning because it's like, what the fuck is this? Is it stunning because it's like,
words
I don't
are
even
very,
know what this is right now?
Yeah, words are very inadequate, totally inadequate actually. I mean, saying it's stunning, it's totally indescribable, just in the same way that this right now is just totally indescribable. It's not knowable. But to the person, it can feel kind of boring and secondhand. I mean, there's a kind of a hum of these earphones. There's a sensation of the seat. There's a couple of people popping up.
Yeah. And
it's indescribable. I can't describe it. Like all the words I just use there are just words. Like it's not describable. And in that same way, when there's no longer anybody who's relating to anything, it's not. It's the same, but it's also totally indescribable. It's totally
because
wild
there's
and
not
free.
this like known story behind it.
Yeah,
not like this boring known thing that's
it's totally
overlaying it.
Yeah, it's living in the unknown is. It's just. I mean, it's as you described there, when you know this person and that person, and when you, in that heaviness of relating all the time, and the meaning and extracted meaning and significance and importance in everything. It's just got layers and layers and layers of artificialness, heaviness to it. That's what it is, really. It's just got, and then that's just, everything is just free to be. And then, so if it's a shitty feeling, it's a shitty feeling. It's just free to be a shitty feeling. And there's nobody saying, well, okay, my wife spoke to me like that, or, you know, to hit on your example, then I've got to maybe do something about that, or why did she speak to me like that, or and then there come in the layers and layers and layers of, whereas there's just what appears to be happening. Everything is just free to be, and the reaction is an apparent reaction, and that's it. And it is very much what's yearned for is this living in the unknown, and what's feared most is the unknown. So that's the paradox. The paradox is that you're actually searching for your own absence, but the you that's you is not. It's not the you that's searching. The you is only being you. It's a closed loop of you, and all the while, what's being looked for is always just what is.
And it's like, okay, so I just started this new job, and like these people are like really, you know, they want to help people in need. It's very much like a community of like, well, we got to make a difference, you know, we got to help the world kind of. And I was thinking like, oh, but that's not really necessary because it's just going to play out as it is. But then also that could also play out like that too. Like it could just be fun to like play this like sort of like we're all acting, and it's like I could know that it's like whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and it's unknown.
Yeah, well, you're actually being done anyway. Everyone is just being done, so it doesn't matter if there's a role. It's just a role, and that's it. So there's nobody doing or not doing anything. So it's not as if if this was seen, then this wouldn't happen, or that wouldn't happen, or this job wouldn't happen, or that job wouldn't happen. It wouldn't matter. There's nobody doing anything. So if it happens to be a role that would be deemed as a helping role, then that could appear to happen, but it could be quite obvious that there's nobody helping anybody. Yeah. So what can happen with the whole helping? Of course, yeah. It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
Nothing matters.
Anyway.
Because
there's
anything
no
is possible. Yeah.
Could be.
In fact,
I get it.
what I've seen actually is that helping roles are much more. It's hard to say better, but they're when it's seen that there's nobody helping anybody, it's a much freer role. When it's a role of imprisonment, when there's a sense that I'm the helper and you're the victim. So when you're the victim and I'm the helper, then that's all about me helping myself under the guise of me helping you. That's what that
to
whole
make myself feel better.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what that whole thing is all about. But then the helping role can appear to happen, and then if there's nobody in it, it just could still appear to go on it because it doesn't matter anyway.
And then it's just happening, and it's
appearing to happen. This is nothing appearing to happen. So this is what is nothing appearing to happen. There's nothing actually happening. In the story of me, there is events that happen to the person. And it's a real thing. Like I got up and I went there and I did that and he did this and she did that, and things are constantly happening. And it's just a complete play of life. There's nothing actually happening, which can't be seen by the person. It feels absolutely real to the person. And it seems to be happening in time and space in a linear kind of fashion. And it's all totally artificial.
It's just like, what is this? That's what it is, right? It's like,
yeah, I mean, this is no thing being everything. This aliveness is not knowable, but for the person it's knowable. It can be known. And so when this communication is heard, that it's not being spoken to a person, but the person, when this is heard, wants to know what's being suggested here and thinks they can know, and sometimes feels they actually do know and they have it then or whatever. But knowing is completely irrelevant. It's totally unknowable. It's not knowable at all. If you know this, then it's totally, it's something else you've got then, and it's just you've got something, and then the story of me just keeps going around. Because we live in a closed loop of our own knowing. That's what the person does. And in actuality, life is totally unknowable. It's just totally immediately just, it is and isn't. It's nothing and everything. It's life and death. It's boom. And that's the adventure then. It's, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kenneth.
Hey.
I missed the beginning, couldn't get in.
Hi, Orna.
Hi.
You were in purgatory, were you? You must have done something very naughty, and then you must have got put in purgatory for a little while. Oh, fuck it. There's no purgatory anymore, so you can't even play that joke anymore because he got rid of purgatory, didn't he?
No.
It wasn't a very good start, if that's any consolation.
I don't know, the link didn't work.
Oh, did it not? I probably fucked up at some point. Yeah, I sent the wrong one. Oh no, sorry, Orna. I started late. I was a good 10 minutes late, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, there you go. I was tardy.
Oof. I totally can relate to, that was I wanted to say about what the previous woman said, that there is a bit a sense of relaxation, like that you want to be a better person and you want to be a healthy person, and there is sort of you get tight that you want to do things right, but with this message, it's just like letting go of a whole lot of tightness, like, okay, so, but it's in the same way you can say, well, I can go and rob a bank now. It doesn't really matter if nothing matters, but that's not how it happens, is it?
Yeah, no, it's funny that the bank one is always the one that people go for too.
I know.
Everyone always goes for the bank one. Why not? Why don't they pick something else? Kill someone. I don't know. We gotta mix it up. Everyone always. It's so funny though. Everyone always thinks, if I fall away, what's to stop me robbing a bank? And I think they run out and rob a bank.
People are worried with the money.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've forgotten the question. Was there a question there, Orna? I can't remember.
Not really. It's more. It's yeah. I mean, some years ago, when I actually realized that I'm not going to get any answers, and I'm not going to understand what's going on, and so it was such a relief to not have to look for something and not have to be good at meditation and search and listen. I never really had a guru, but I listened to different teachers and speakers, and there was a really sense of relief. And now it's coming more to the daily physical life, like, as it happens, it happens as it happens. But like, we have a joke, I have a friend here, and if we feel bad, we just keep saying, oh, it's not real, it's not real. Try to use this.
It's real and unreal. It is what it is, yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, there is a huge heaviness to being a person, though, of
huge.
It's enormous sense of unworthiness. It's enormous. It's absolutely enormous, because everything is gone. Paradise has been lost. The Garden of Eden wholeness has apparently been lost, and that sense of unworthiness you can never put your finger on it, really. What is it that's missing? It can never be. And the thing about it is that the person feels that there's something missing, that they can find something that can satisfy that or satiate that or fill that.
Lose something, not find.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. It's not about finding anything. It's actually an apparent loss. Yeah, and then that's the other part. There's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose either, or nothing to find. Yeah. But it is an apparent loss, though. It is about loss. Whereas the person who, the apparent person certainly feels it's about gaining. In general, would feel it's about gaining something. That there's some state I can be in. There's some experience I can have, or there's something that I can gain. It's always seen as something to gain, and it comes as quite a surprise. That it comes as quite a shock. That it's actually what's looked for is loss, loss of being this separate me with all this neurosis, and it's just a dream. It's not real. It never was real. It never was real. So actually, what's yearned for and looked for has nothing whatsoever to do with me. So it has nothing to do with the way you think you are, the apparent person. And as an apparent person, what's yearned for and looked for has everything to do with me. Everything. It's to do, I'm too much this way and I'm not enough that way. I'm not still enough. I'm not good at meditation. I haven't got enough money. I'm bad in my relationship. I'm I'm not kind enough to people, and the
Yeah.
list goes on and on and on and on and on, and it's just endless. It's I'm too much this and I'm not enough this, and there's continual working on the self all the time
Yeah.
to try and get there, and there's nowhere to get to. And
I
it's
think
never been
this
anything but this.
this feeling of heaviness is why not having the sense of a separate me seems better. Anything would be better than this heaviness, but
Yeah, there's no what when this is being suggested, it can't ever be suggested without it appearing to be a carrot to the person. It's impossible. Can't be spoken about without the person hearing it as something that if I can get, I will be better, no matter how much is.
the feeling will be better. Yeah.
Yeah, my
But
life will
no
be better
guarantee.
or whatever. Yeah, but that's not what's being said.
No.
That's
and
okay,
there's no
because it's
guarantee.
actually just energetic. It really is. It's totally energetic. This whole thing is completely energetic. It doesn't matter a damn if there's confusion or there's clarity. It doesn't matter at all. Nothing matters. Clarity doesn't matter. Fusion doesn't matter. That's what appears to be happening. It's totally energetic. It's a resonance, because the sense of being a person is energetic. It's an apparent energetic contraction into me, and there's a world outside of me, and nothing can touch that. Nothing can touch that at all. There's no way of phrasing something here or making something really clear for somebody that can expand that sense of being a person into it. It totally plays out as it plays out, and there's also no agenda to do that here, because all there is seen is wholeness already, which is quite amazing actually. All there is, because so anyone tuning in is only ever seen as already complete.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there is no promise and there is no guarantee that you're going to be. There is still, like even what Anne was saying before, she's now feeling, there was a sense of more.
Anything
like
can happen.
Anything
can happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess what I was trying to clarify as well is that this can be heard that like there was some characters named there that speak about this, and as if what the person can hear sometimes is that these people are there and then I'm not, and that's completely not the case at all. It's not like that at all. There's no there is no there. And there's no people to be there. There's just aliveness, that's all. And it's not it's not anything that any apparent person listening wouldn't have already, although I will use the word have in a different sense. But yeah, because it's not havable, or you are already what's looked for basically, but the person can only, the energy of being a person can only reject that and go because that's the person spinning around. It doesn't want, person doesn't want what's being suggested here at all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Orna. Nice to hear from you.
Yes.
Hey, Kenneth, it's Sky here.
Sky, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for so many clarifications. When you mentioned the word purgatory, something in my body just laughed, because I haven't heard that word in 40 years since my early Catholic upbringing. But it was just like purgatory all of a sudden seemed like such a ridiculous idea. And then wedded to that was also the idea of heaven and hell. And it was like there was just this, this laughter at the recognition of what had been written into the psyche as I was an early child, indoctrinated into a system that said, you know, the
You
Catholic
better not be a naughty boy, because you won't get to
exactly
heaven.
that goes
Naughty,
from
naughty, naughty, naughty.
and it goes from Christ to Santa. Either
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely. It's Peter Pan stuff. It's so ridiculous, the whole thing.
But
Yeah.
you know, the other thing too, it's like, but still the resonance of reality, the you know, the illusion of reality, it's still there, with a grip and claws that a part of me knows that the tiger has to let go, but I also have to let go of the tiger.
Well, nothing has to actually happen. So there
Say
is
that
no
again,
there
please.
is no have to. No, 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 no. It's the person that thinks that there's something has to happen. This is nothing appearing to happen. This is nothing. There is nothing happening. So nothing has to happen because there is nothing happening. And you are already wholeness. There is no individual
Yeah, and
already. So nothing, what would be needed? It's only in the mind of the person that I'm not quite there yet. And if this happens, I might get what Kenneth's saying, or I might da 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 da.
yeah, and it's such a deep-seated, I'm not there yet.
Oh yeah, it's very, very strong. And as I
And that's
said
why
a little while ago, there's no agenda here to touch that or do anything with that, because it's artificial. It's not actually real, and there's nothing seen here but energy, if you want to
yeah,
put it that way. So therefore, that's what makes these communications different. The few places they're coming out is that they're completely radical, really, and uncompromising. They're not compromised in any way. The compromise message sees a person, and then if it sees a person, it wants to get them somewhere. It's a much more attractive communication, and therefore it's much more attractive than this communication.
and
To
it's
the
almost
person, yeah.
the naturalness of the communication. It just uproots some of those.
Well, it's
Just like I was
energetic.
saying,
It's completely energetic. So what's being suggested has nothing to do with this character, kind of absolutely nothing whatsoever, or to do with anybody, but it's absolutely energetic. And when it resonates, it resonates. Boom. It just resonates, man. It's just seen. It's like, oh my fucking God. It's just this. And that it could be then that the sense of me can come back or not come back or appear to come back. Anything can happen.
that's what I was saying about purgatory.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about it, but there was also one of those roots that were implanted in, you know, an innocent being that uh, that still worked its way through the subconscious, unconscious,
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
that
We're all
held the
raised with
person in place.
yeah, we're all raised with different ideas, and we have a paradigm of how reality is, and we appear to be given that through our parents and school and the culture that we grow up in. So, but funny enough, it can't actually be any other way either. It can't actually be nothing can be any different than it appears to be.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Lovely to speak to you.
All right.
Ingmar, you're written me quite a long message. Ingmar, sorry. That's what appears to be happening. Whatever is arising is what appears to be happening, is it. So there's a sense of something might be going on there. It's not that there's some resolution to that, or it's going to be some clarity in it that will resolve everything. It's what is being suggested here is that whatever is appearing to happen is already what's looked for, no matter what it is. If it's an idea about something that appears to be happening in the story, that could be intuitively a right idea, and that's what is an agenda that's going on, or it could be a wrong idea and that's not apparently what's going on, and it doesn't really matter actually. That's what I'd say to that. And Will says, from the glimpses that have been had here, when it happens, it's clear that it's separation that's the extraordinary thing, that there can be separation at all is the extraordinary thing. And what I would say is also, Will, is that there can be the appearance of separation. There is no separation at all. So there can be the artificial contracted energy of separation. Yeah, it's stunning, but it's not real. That's why when there appears to be a falling away of somebody, it's not that there's wholeness here, but there's still John over there, or there's still Mary. There's nobody anywhere. It's very obvious. There's just energy. And energy appears to be a contracted, separate person who says, well, I'm a person and I'm blah, 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 blah. Okay, fair enough. So, yeah, Philip, shoot, Philip, just so you know, I usually don't have my screen on. I can't really see anybody. So it's best to put your hand up in the chat.
Right, yep, got ya.
How are you doing?
Yeah, yeah, all right, aye, not too bad, I don't think. So, a question I had, Kenneth. When this was seen there, and ordinary life continued, you know, you have a job, you have a wife, you have kids, all that still continues for you when it was seen. How did that all go? Like just ordinary, everyday, like working with people, everything. How did that all go? Did that all go smoothly, or is it just a completely different ball game? I mean, if you're willing to answer that question.
Yeah, it's the same. It appears to continue the same as it did before. So it's impossible to say if it went better or went worse, because that would be, well, from whose perspective did it go better or go worse? But any role, there is a freedom in a role when there's no longer anybody doing the role. So it's less heavy. It's just playing out as it's playing out. You can't really describe anything different in any of it, really.
I wonder.
Other than you can't really objectively describe anything different in it. It would be, there's just a role. So whatever the job is, that just appears to continue. What I would say is that it could change in the perception of those that appear to be working with the character. And that could either be better or it could be worse, depending on where they're, it could be depending on where they're, what they're measuring. Because this can actually be kind of a threatening energy to be around. To some, it can be threatening because there's when there's a sense of being a self, a separate self, and there's meeting of another separate self, there's a continuous feeding of, you need this separate self to be acknowledged by that apparent separate self. And when that doesn't happen, that can kind of be a bit unnerving for the person. Or else it could also just be totally just not noticed even. So there's no rules with it. This apparently happened many years ago. So all of them things you named apparently happened after, but there is no before or after. You know, you're talking of, you know, it doesn't matter. It could be, you see, if there's no time, what's the point in saying it was 13 years ago or whatever? There's no 13 years, you know. But I mean, essentially that's what it is that there is no separate person, and everything just plays out as it plays out. So there's nobody doing a job, there's just a job appearing to happen. There's nobody doing anything, everyone is being done, and this is nothing appearing to happen. Also, that's kind of getting to the crux of it, really. That's kind of getting to the heart of it, is that there's nothing actually happening.
But
very fucking unnerving for the person. But
I think what I'm getting at, Kenneth, it's very difficult to put it.
Doesn't matter, just
exactly. So there'd be nothing happening there or in life, but for everybody else around you, it's just normal everyday life, and there is something happening for them. Things do have meaning for them, and
there appears to be something happening for them. In the story of them being a separate person. That's there's an apparent living in an artificial reality. That's what it is. And so there is what appears to happen here, because that's the way it is. There's a car goes down the road, you know, a dinner is cooked, a job appears to happen, blah, blah, blah. But there's just it's all obviously just a play of light. And within that, then people, it's very clear that people feel that they are people and that they are doing the job, or they are doing the driving of the car, or they are cooking the dinner. Whereas there's just the dinner apparently being cooked, the car apparently being driven. So it's actually the same, you see. That's the thing. That's how what you're yearning for is already what is. And that's how
it's already the case.
And also that's how that the sense of being you is totally artificial. It's not actually there. It's not real. So that's the big realization for nobody. See, like, coming at it from the perspective continually from the person, it's what appears. It's not. It's trying to get somewhere with what's being said, or trying to understand what's being said. It's not understandable.
Totally.
But you can only if a question comes up, it's not so much about the question or the answer. Actually, it's back to the energy. It's just an energetic thing. So if a question comes up, there's an energy to ask the question. You know what I mean? And it can't. That's the thing. What's the point?
It's alive, isn't it?
There's an aliveness, and actually that's kind of what it is. It's not that there'll be an answer to the question that will be, oh wow. It's in that sense of the asking of it, the apparent asking of it. There's a real resonance and an aliveness that is very much speaks of what's being sings of and is what's being suggested here.
I would say, to be honest with you, Kenneth, since I've been around this, life goes on, but it's almost like I am walking around work every day, and I'm always just waiting for my boss just to tap me on the shoulder. It's like, if he's talking to me, he might as well be talking to that wall.
Does he tell you that?
No, he doesn't tell me that, but it's just like, it just seems like I can't seem to, and you know, so conversations. I could just walk away from conversation and that's it over. It's gone.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, if people are trying to teach me something,
Yeah.
it's just like they might as well be talking to that wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't actually let them know that. You're always waiting for that tap on the shoulder.
Keep that on the down low.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Well, no, I know. I totally know what you're saying. Is what you're saying that there's a sense that it's kind of, this is all artificial, and I could be caught at any point that I don't really know what's, you know, that there's nobody in here doing this, and there's nobody with any clue, because that's a really common feeling.
No clue.
It's like it's kind of going that fake it till you make it thing. Fake it till you make it. Like nobody knows what they're actually doing, but there's this perception that other people know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of in that's.
And the joke seems to be, no one has a clue what's going on.
No, nobody actually knows.
That's really becoming obvious in some sort of, in a weird way, not a way that I know, but
I know.
No one has a clue what's going on.
I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, it's.
I think
interesting.
I think this COVID thing, has pulled the rug, because everyone's now saying, you don't know what's going to happen next. You don't know what's going to happen. No one ever did know what was going to happen next.
No,
It's just made it so much more obvious.
It has made it obvious. Yeah, completely agree with you. Yeah, there had been a sense that, a very strong sense that it's my life. What happens in my life is a result of what I do, and it's mappable. And it's predictable and it's knowable, and the mappable part of it is been blown apart with COVID to a huge degree.
Totally.
And that sense, that's why it's and I think with that, the free fall of it is an energetic resonance and an energetic openness to probably what's being suggested here. Actually.
Yeah, I would
say so. Yeah.
Even this interaction here, the aliveness, I love it. It's like, I wonder why I tune into these things and I go to the meeting sometimes or whatever. And then when we get interacting like this, it's the aliveness, isn't it? It's
yeah. It's totally, and that's all, it's always that. It doesn't matter if you're standing at a bus stop and there's just, you know, whatever, I'm trying to think of something extremely mundane. You know, there is actually there's no meeting actually. There's no Zoom meeting.
No.
There's no. So it can start to be obvious that energetic aliveness is in everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then that it can start. Then it can kind of be game over then, really, because it's just seeing. It's just this, isn't it? It's just this. Like there's no. Well, it's very what's being suggested here is very, very ordinary. Very shockingly ordinary.
Yeah.
Because the person lives in a dualism of special, not special, and they yearn for something special. And in actuality, that's just the play of opposites that emanates from being a separate self. There's nothing special or not special. There's just it's shockingly ordinary, because it is already what you always yearned for is already what is, and always has been.
Yeah. So, and you know what it is, mate? I am telling you now, man. It is absolutely amazing as well. And
it's stunning.
I could not tell you what is amazing about it, but there's something.
Oh no, and I can't either.
It's
stunning. Nobody can. Nobody can say it, because it's just so. There's the paradox. You know, it's stunning and it's just ordinary.
It's like I said to my girlfriend. I said, this ordinariness just now is somehow. It was never okay before. It was just, just an ordinary life was just never okay. And I said, now, suddenly it's more than okay. And that's all I could say.
Yeah.
I can't say anything about it.
No.
I can't say.
No, nothing can be said. And this character has apparently been talking about it for 12 years, but it's not an it, and it's not and it doesn't matter. That's why I keep coming back to the energy. It's an energetic resonance. Words are just words in a way.
Yeah, I love it, Kenneth, because nothing's actually being said here. Nothing is actually being said. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It literally is unbelievable, though, isn't it? It just is.
It's stunning, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll get off because we're turning this into a one-on-one here.
Yeah.
Nice one. Nice to speak to you.
Listen, nice to speak to you, Philip. Yeah. Jane, you have your hand up there. You want to say something?
Yeah, hi, Kenneth.
How you doing, Jane?
I'm really good. I'm grateful to be here. This is my second meeting with you, and I've listened to a few videos over the last, maybe only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It just came into my awareness, and when you're talking about that resonance, so I'm really happy to be here. And when the other fellow, Philip, was talking about being tapped on the shoulder, I was thinking about, I've had this sense for the past 6-8 months, something like that. It's like when my father had dementia and he would talk, about whatever, he made things that seemed real to him. And I get this feeling like that whatever it is that I'm doing, whether I'm cooking or talking in this video or whatever, that I'm going to feel this hand on my shoulder saying, now come on, Jane, it's time for your lunch. Like the lady that works at the old folks home.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of keep waiting for that hand on my shoulder. Well, not waiting for it, but that it can come and say, yeah, you're just in a little delusion in your mind. Now it's time for your lunch and then your nap.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm listening really carefully when you're talking about this feeling of separateness and yearning, and I'm not good enough, and that condition that I keep hearing you talking about, that I'm not good enough. And really over the past 10 or 20 years, starting my journey with the 12-step program 24 years ago and working on those things, I don't have that sense of separateness. I don't have that sense of unworthiness. I don't have that sense that, things would be better if, or if those thoughts come in, I don't believe them.
Yeah, it's very simplified. I'm speaking in very simplified general terms. Like the sense of being separate person is unique to every apparent separate person, and it plays out as it plays out. So it might not that description might not ring true with many people then, but it's just a way of simplifying it.
Sure. And
yeah, and also the yearning can be astoundingly subtle, and for some there's no sense of yearning at all. Actually, there's a sense of, this is the beauty of it, the way it plays out. It can play out
participating.
Yeah, for some it can be just a kind of an engagement in what appears to be happening, and totally no sense that there's anything kind of missing, and then there you go. But I keep coming back to the word the word sensitivity. There can be this kind of sensitivity that whatever appears to be happening in the life of the person, like whatever the story is, the job, the relationships, the whatever, and no matter how fulfilling that is, and fine, it could be totally fine, there's nothing wrong with any of that, there can be just this sensitivity to there's something that's been missed here. I can't quite put my finger on it, and that's kind of more, so it plays out as it plays out. And for others it's so strong. It's mortgaging the house and everything falling apart and moving to an ashram in India, because it's so strong. It's so everything just totally collapses. So I mean, they're yin and yang. They're two different ends of the scale.
Yeah, I haven't had that experience. What people are talking about or alluding to. I'm still very much an I, but I don't feel attached to the I. I don't feel attached to it. I've looked for it. It's not there.
Yeah. And that's what appears to be happening there. So, and there is no right or wrong with any of this. There's nowhere to get to. There's nothing to know. There's nothing to believe in. So it's just whatever is heard, and whatever appears to be happening is appearing to happen.
Yeah. I just wanted to participate in the conversation. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, lovely to hear from you. Yeah. Art.
Hey, Kenneth. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was just thinking when you were talking about this yearning, some people have this yearning, you were saying, and others don't. It just made me think of duality and how there's a balance of order and chaos. But that's all just my mind analyzing. Like, how do you express non-duality or this?
Well, the word advaita means not to, and it's a nice way of putting it because it's kind of reflective of that it can't, oneness can't be said directly. It's just, so not to is another way of saying one. This is, there is no duality and non-duality. There's only energy. And in that energy, there appears to be a sense of separation. And that's an apparent problem then. So for that apparent problem, there are terms that are an apparent solution. Non-duality, all of that. There's no such thing as non-duality, actually. And that's what happens. That's what appears to happen. There's nothing to get, there's nothing to know, there's nothing to understand. But the person thinks of non-duality as a thing, or it is the me that is the play of the opposites. It's not that there's a play of opposites for the me. It is the me that is the play of opposites. And the play of opposites emanate from a sense of being a separate center. And in that separate center, there is a dualism in the world. But the root dualism is me and the world, if you want to put it that way. It's a bit of a logical kind of way to put it, but that's the root. The root is me, this separate me, and the world out there. So any kind of resolution of any dualisms or seeing of them or understanding of them are totally irrelevant. It doesn't matter because it's all coming back to that root sense of there being this separate me and a world out there. And all the while there's that, then there's a question. And in that question is what we described as a yearning or whatever. And there's something sought then. But what sought is already what it appears to be. It's not anything else than that. The big joke is that what's being looked for is what already is.
Right.
Like it can get, all of them terms can make it sound quite esoteric and complex, and it's not at all complex or esoteric. It's actually too simple and ordinary. If anything, it's too obvious and open and ordinary, and that's why it appears it appears to hide by already being just everything. It's pure genius, actually.
So would you say this is an awareness we were born with as humans?
I wouldn't say awareness is simply an aspect of the separate person. Awareness has no relevance whatsoever. It's awareness is somebody who's aware of something else. There has to be separation for awareness. In the story of me, awareness is very, very important and mysterious, and it's not at all relevant. Awareness, consciousness, any of these things, which is bad news for the person, because they would dearly like it to be the key to something, and it's treated as the key to something because there is this subtle states that can be arrived of or at when someone tries to practice mindful awareness or goes on meditation experiences or whatever. And what's being suggested is that it's nothing to do with any state of consciousness or of awareness or anything like that.
Is it getting the mind to be silent?
No, not at all, no. No, it's not getting anything. It's a loss of a sense of being a person in the world. It's a scene that there is only this. It's nobody gets anything. It's a scene that it's a sense that this me that was always taken for granted, that was here somehow in here in this body, that this I, that it's artificial. It's not real, and that this is actually, it's just this. It's just this. It's just whatever is appearing to happen. That's it. And that's not noble or understandable.
Is it experienceable?
No, it's not experienceable. No, it's the person that experiences. Yeah, I love the way we're ripping through them here one by one, Art. I like it actually. It's a nice way to. It's a nice way to finish off. It's not experiences because it's the person that has experiences. It's the person that experiences a world that is separate to them. Because when there is, when it's seen there, there is nobody, and there always is nobody, it's just that there's an immediate just aliveness for nobody and for no one. And there's nobody then to have an experience. An experience is something that happens to somebody in a linear path in time and space.
Well, do you think there's
experience
a shift?
Is a story.
This might be a story, but do you think, I've heard one or two teachers say that
I'm not a teacher, but just, sorry to interrupt you, I'm not a teacher, but yeah. There's no such thing as there's no such thing as a teacher. Go on, yeah, sorry, Art, go on.
Do you think that there might be a neurological shift that happens in the brain that just changes the way this is seen?
I don't know. I would describe it as an energetic contraction. The sense of being a person is a cellular energetic contraction that has, there are sections of the brain that have function in it. Hypothalamus, I think. I'm not sure. They have identified areas that seem to be, the sense of self seems to be kind of playing out more in these neurologically, but I would describe it as a contracted energy that's a cellular energy in the whole body actually. It's not just in the mind or the brain. And it's when it's there, when there's a sense, it's absolutely real to the person. It feels completely real that there's a world out there and there's a me in here. It feels absolutely real. That I have they're my thoughts, they're my feelings, they're me all the time. And what's been suggested here right now is that is artificial. And that can be seen now. There is no now, but it can be. Nothing needs to be understood. Nothing needs to be understood. Nothing can be understood. It's not understandable. It's not something that you will work towards or can be, you know, we'll do a couple of Zoom talks on Saturday, and some people here tuning in are getting closer to it. It's not possible to get closer to wholeness.
All right. Thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks, Art. Lovely to hear from you. So that's the story. So thank you. It's an absolute pleasure every Sunday to. It's just amazing. It's stunning. It's really, really fantastic. And It's a stunning message. It's completely ordinary. It's just already what appears to be. Nothing need be done. Nothing can be done. Nothing needs to be understood. How you doing?
Thank you.
Hi, Patricia. Thank you. I didn't get to some of the messages. Sorry. I just put a link there for anyone who wants to contribute, and thanks to those who have. It's great. Through PayPal. So yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Kenneth. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kenneth. Brilliant.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks to all.
Bye.
Brilliant. Bye-bye.